technology until it tells us, oh, yep, we're live. I am super excited to be interviewing Cam Cole. Cam, you've had a lot of chat in terms of questions that clients want me to ask you. And so I wanted to make sure that I got this right, because I have to admit, when Cam was a client, I really didn't pay attention to how many years he'd been mountain bike riding for New Zealand. It wasn't really it wasn't that relevant to how I helped him get better. But he has been riding for New Zealand for 9 years. When he started coming to see me as a client, he obviously also had a mountain bike business in terms of doing trails, and you can explain it. In my head, I was just there to get you better. And Cam, it's been a delight having you as a client in person in Wellington when you'd come into the clinic. And now that you're living in Tehran, also still seeing you via Zoom and via Skype. And Cam also has his very own detox center at home with him over there. So, Cam, over to you. Basically, everyone's very excited that we're doing this interview, and thank you so much for your time and being willing to answer all our questions.
No problem. So I was a professional downhill racer for 9 years on the international mountain bike circuit. That was a while ago now, maybe 6 years ago. I stopped that career, went into some study, and then started my own business with mountain bike trail building. And about the time I was halfway through my study, I think I was about 29, I saw you for the first time. So that's going back a while now too. And yeah, definitely at the time I had a few injuries I was trying to overcome at the end of my career, when I just sustained those at the end of my racing career. And yeah, I guess here we are now today. I think I received something a month ago, like an anniversary, that I'd been your client for 6 years or something like that. So that's definitely, it's been a lot of work, but yeah, here we are.
And Cam, I was in advance of this interview, I was looking over your very first food journal that you came to see me with. And you may or may not remember this, and I might have changed the wording slightly. But basically, when you came into my clinic down on Brandon Street many moons ago, you told me that you were pretty much really quite healthy and you had your diet nailed in, right?
Yeah, and I think, like, all jokes aside, like being a professional athlete and thinking you're operating at a certain level, but then I guess you don't know what you don't know. So then when I came and saw you, there was all this stuff like, okay, I do need to, or I can, there is an opportunity to improve all this stuff. And that definitely helped with my recovery at the time. And then studying, just my alertness and my ability to concentrate. And then also going into my business where, startups aren't easy. So I was pushing my body quite hard. The sleep wasn't there all the time. I was dealing with staff, financial things, and like having to build the trails themselves. So, and also trying to keep fit and improve my health at the same time. So, I think I couldn't have done that without those changes that we made right at the start. And then, obviously after the main or the kind of more substantial changes that you think kind of impact your lifestyle more, just fine tuning from there. Yeah. So.
And from your memory, and it has been years now, what were some of the substantial changes that you made when you first came to see me? Like, what were some of the things that you did?
At the start, just cutting things out, and then moving on from there, like cutting things out temporarily and putting them back in was kind of a bigger one. But yeah, like right at the start, it was definitely removing the big ones like gluten, dairy, and then that definitely, I guess.
Coffee?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, coffee. Yeah, reducing that for sure. But yeah, at the time with the business and things, it wasn't like ideal, and I'm still working on that. I'm a work in progress. So I'm not the perfect client, but I might be a healthy client.
You're definitely a healthy client, Cam. And if we needed perfection, none of us would be in good health. But one of the conversations I remember having with you quite early on, and you were quite surprised at this, was actually encouraging you and educating you around eating more healthy fats. because you truly did think that you ate a lot of fat in your food journal. And you also did a bit of snacking in between your meals. So do you remember that kind of journey with increasing your fats and what that looked like for you?
Yeah, definitely. Just like you say, bringing them in and the healthy fats, and also knowing, I think, like at that time, I didn't know where I could get those from. Like I thought I was getting them from these sources, and then you were like, oh no, you can actually get that here or here or here. And it kind of opened up a lot more options with food, even though it did sometimes cut other ones out. But when you're focusing on bringing something in, you're more, whether it's cooking with coconut oil or adding nut and seed oils to salads or things like that. It's a lot. There's opportunities here to eat new food, and it was easy. So, sorry, I might have diverted from the question there a bit, but it was definitely easy.
It's true. And did you feel deprived, like because you were so busy focusing on all these new things and like the adventure of all these new foods and the fact that you like cooking? Did it feel like in the initial sessions when it really was kind of removing foods to bring down the inflammation, did you feel deprived during this process? Like, did it feel awful to you?
No, actually, and kind of like linking back into that last question you asked, there was a point I remember where I was putting all the stuff on food or in food, or eating more salmon,
Typical me.
dropping beef out or something like that. Yeah, yeah. And I got to a point where I'd come home after working away or something and not kind of eating as good. And like cooking at home, you've got your own kitchen, and you can go and get like a piece of salmon from More Wilson's or whatever, and it's like it's mint. I remember putting that in my mouth and just thinking, man, this is it. Like you can almost feel the nourishment, when you're eating it. And I think that was the point when it was like, this is definitely like the best thing, for me, rather than, eating that other stuff. Yeah. So yeah, to answer that, you don't feel deprived at all. You actually feel like when you're putting that stuff in your mouth, it's, it's actually good for you. Yeah.
And Cam, I know we had a couple of stop starts in terms of once you completed studying and then set up your own business, you had to travel a lot for your own business. Like you'd be on the road for a few weeks at a time. And then you'd come back and you'd have appointments in between. So we'd see your progress get really good and then it would drop off. So the first few times that you traveled, your nutrition wasn't necessarily a priority. Like you were just working long hours and you were just trying to survive. But I do know that towards the end of traveling, like for work, it did become a real priority because you just felt so much better, right? Like that you just had to prioritize it.
Yeah, and I think the habits, like to kind of answer all your questions at the same time as well. You cut the things out that you causing you issues, and then you bring these other things in. And it got to a point where when I was traveling, I did this as an athlete too, but it was a long time. More recently, it's been a long time since then. Traveling with a bag of food and a smoothie maker, and like you've got collagen, smoothie maker, your coconut oil, pretty much like a really ready to go smoothie, like pop up, and your like good avocado oil, quality stuff, all that just there ready to go, ginger, apple cider, all this kind of stuff in it that you can just take into a hotel room, and you don't need much. All you need is a power socket to power it, and there's breakfast or whatever sorted.
And I know with you, as much as you love cooking and you'd make your own broth at home, just getting you with packet bone broths while you were traveling, like in a hotel or wherever you were staying in accommodation, you couldn't cook stuff because you were tired. We just got you into those really easy habits where it became easy once again, even when you were traveling.
Yeah, for sure. And that's like the smoothie maker. All you need is power, and you've got hot water or a smoothie, and hot water. Actually, jugs are in most, like even camping ground cabins and things like that. So it's you can always, and I do look for that stuff when I book accommodation now as well. So it has kind of to that degree affected like how I think and approach things. But
You come to see me for one appointment and you're super healthy, and next minute you're organizing your holidays around whether you can make your own bone broth with the hot water jug or not. And
Yeah.
Cam, obviously this was a very real, we're jumping around a little bit, but this was a very real concern for you, was how you're going to eat when you're in Tehran. But the principles that you learned with me in New Zealand in clinic, have you been able, and that work for your body, have you been able to apply them to your life over there? With the food being different, obviously, but have you been able to apply these things?
Yeah, definitely. There's some things we can't find here that would be really nice, like a lot of coconut kind of products and stuff like that. So it hasn't been easy to keep that up. But with your advice, in the sessions that we still do have, make your own pesto, use walnuts, use olive tapenade, things like that, have the fats in. And using them wisely on the right stuff, then yeah, it's fine. But yeah, it's definitely been challenges, and it's not always easy. But for the most part, it's fine. And I think it's the meals are, even sometimes the food quality isn't quite there, which I do miss from New Zealand. Some of our, like just having a organic shop full of green stuff in it is like super handy in the city there. But no, for the most part, it's been good.
And also, I'll just say one thing, Vicky, I haven't asked Cam your question yet, so don't think you've missed out. But Cam, that's another reason, knowing that the pollution, like the air quality being over there, the food quality, that's why you invested so much in detoxification things that you could take with you, right? Because you knew that it was the whole package. It was your diet, it was your lifestyle, it was your sleep, it was mindfulness, meditation, and the detox things that you were doing in the clinic that you really valued and knew had contributed to your good health as well.
Yeah, for sure. So we have the ion foot cleanse and the red light, the sauna space sauna as well. So yeah, it just makes it so easy to finish your day or start your day or whatever. Just jump in those, get through them, and definitely helps with that too. Yeah, because the pollution's really bad here. I think it's not the worst city in the world for pollution, but it's number 7. And if you go, we live kind of on the mountainside, but if you go down into town and into the pollution and you come back out, your eyes hurt. There's all these sorts of things, and sometimes you've got a headache. But if you jump in the sauna and ion foot cleanse, the headache goes away, and it definitely helps. I think the toxins we're exposed to here, those tools help manage that for sure, and also improving the stuff that we carry with us, probably that we brought from New Zealand, like whether you're living in a house or living near something that, or just your lifestyle has got that stuff in it, then you're always trying to keep those out and get them through your body and recover from that.
And obviously it's an investment to do that and bring that with you. What made you, what did you see in clinic with your health that made you guys really go, we're going to invest in this, we want to take this with us? Not that I'm telling everyone that they need to buy it, they can use it obviously in clinics that are moving overseas, but what did you notice in your body personally?
I think a focus thing, like more of a clear thought process, or clear state of mind. That was probably the major one, but just, I don't know, and making it easy, really, like just having it at home increases your use of it. I think, like, it's there, so you can like sit on the couch and read a book and use it, or you can work at the computer at the table and use the foot cleanse, and then you can, in between cooking things in the kitchen, you can jump in the red light therapy. So it was so easy, and then obviously our use of it's improved. But yeah, definitely having 2 people in your house like wanting to use it, it's a no-brainer at that point. And Amy, we kind of use it together, and it's like ideal.
Cam, to backtrack a little bit, when you first came to see me, obviously you were injury, like you had injuries in your body. Like that was part of our process. I remember very much like the knees, the your wrist, your thumb, all sorts of different things going on. So in your mind,
Yeah.
how did this help your injuries? Like obviously you got more injuries, which we'll come to as you would with riding and stuff. But what do you see the process of in terms of helping with your injuries?
Yeah, the injuries definitely have built up over the years with my racing and things like that, and they haven't stopped because I'm still racing and trying to ride like semi-competitively. But I would say the main thing was, because I had 3 surgeries on an ankle from 2015 to 2018 as well, so that was across the time that I first started seeing you, and I definitely noticed an improvement with that straight away because that was kind of what my body was probably fighting most at the time. But then since then, old injuries just not a problem, and that was something I was worried about when I was finishing my racing career was my wrists, my back that I've broken before, and obviously keeping moving and doing my gym stuff helps with that. And I've got specific exercises for all this stuff, and keeping the muscle tissue and fascia healthy. But the food is the main thing I would say, and then just using supplements when my body needs it. So Intenzyme,
I knew you were going to say
bio,
that, Cam. I was like, he's going to plug you in. Sure.
Yeah, well, they're my favourites. So yeah, they're my go-to, and yeah, so they definitely help with reducing the inflammation in the joints, and yeah, just keep me moving, or help me to. One of the things that I use to help me keep moving in the way that I need to and I want to. Yeah.
Absolutely. And so when you were competing right before you started coming to see me, have you noticed a difference in your recovery since you've implemented these healthy changes to your diet? Has that sped up your recovery? Has your recovery changed in any way from injuries? Like, have you noticed a difference?
Yeah, if I train these days and I do say for example I do 2 training sessions in a day, which I haven't done for a while because I was so busy in New Zealand with my business, but now I have the opportunity to do that. I notice some tight muscles, but I don't ever feel, and maybe I'm better at managing it mentally and with my time as well, but I don't notice as much being tired and being sore and being, now that you ask, I mean, yeah, if I think back, there's definitely not, it's not like, oh, I just can't do anything today because my legs are so sore. Like, I never feel like that now. So,
And you did
um,
use when you first came in to see me, you'd be like, I can't train today, Shelley. Like, I can't do this, I can't do that, because you were so sore and inflamed.
yeah, being an athlete and having all those injuries, I think just they were adding up and it was difficult to do it. And yeah, I guess it's a combination of things. It's the supplements, it's the new approach to food. It's even the new approach to sleep and just managing your energy through the day. And you helped educated me on all that stuff. So it's like, I think as a package, it's definitely, I notice it now. Well, I don't notice it because
It's just your new,
uh,
right?
I'm
You take
not.
it for
Yeah,
granted. Typical
yeah,
client,
exactly.
move
Yeah,
on. You don't have the aches and pains, you're not bothered, and the cool part is, Kim, what you've kind of summarized here is you've got all the tools. Like, if you ride more, to take more Intenzyme Forte because that's going to help you with, you've been given the tools to empower yourself to live the best life possible. No one's saying you can't have all the foods that cause you inflammation or the coffee or whatever it is, but it's asking the question of why did you need the coffee? Like, I was never banning the coffee from you, but it was like, hey, Cam, why are your adrenals that tired? Like, what is going on in your body or in your lifestyle that we can't support you nutritionally or supplement wise, and just have the coffee as a ritual?
yeah. I think it was the process of going to you for so many years, and we definitely still do. But it's a process of education, not just handing the golden ticket or supplement to cure everything, And you change your lifestyle, but when you look back, you wouldn't change a thing. And now I've got, like you say, sometimes even these days I can feel like, oh, my body needs more of this, or like you said, I'm training a bit more and running a bit more and riding a bit more in the gym, I increase certain supplements or whatever, and definitely in those times I'm far more conscious with increasing fats and keeping the protein up and things like that, which is that's a product of just having those discussions with you and being in the clinic, and also with the detox stuff too. I think that's an education thing, and then we got to a point where, okay, we could buy this, and I think your approach is not to have to hold someone's hand all their way through life. It's to educate them and then send them on their way eventually one day, I guess, hopefully. But I'm not there yet, but I'm still a work in progress.
Rain, Cam. A little by little, we increase the rain that you get.
Yeah,
but also,
exactly.
Like every client, right, Cam, with you, you came in with one set of goals, which was very much getting rid of those initial injuries because you were really worried. And then you saw the benefits of it. So then your goalpost changed, and it's like, okay, practitioner, Shelley, get me to this level. Like, come on, work a bit harder. You've met that goal. Now give me the next, and which is awesome. Like, because you're now looking, you came in with injuries, and now you're actually looking for longevity. Like, you don't want just a body that's not injured. You want to live your best life possible, you and your wife, till the day you die. So those priorities have changed where it's like, okay, what do I tweak now? What do I do now? Like, that's why you got so invested in the detox center, because it's very much like, but I want to live the best me possible for as long as possible.
Yeah, definitely. And there's always, like, you're at the forefront of this stuff. Like, you introduced us to the AMP coil, and we started using that. And that's one of the things too that would be awesome to buy eventually. But yeah, just things like that. There's always, I guess, human beings and stuff. We still are complex and we don't know everything about ourselves. So I'm going to assume in the future that things are going to change again. And I guess the technology and stuff and foods as well that we're eating and all this kind of thing. And you can help us educate that so we can continue to just concentrate on our professional lives or our athletic lives, and we can consult with you for that information. And I was going to say too, your life goes through stages and you change as well. And sometimes you're looking for a certain, like I came to you looking for a certain thing, and we got through that, and then once I was running my business, I was looking for a different set of things, whether it was sort of to help deal with some emotions or whatever that could help me deal with my staff in a better way, and to keep my brain more alert so I could think all day and not get that fatigue that I had before, which obviously, you need to change things again in your diet and bring things into supplement.
Absolutely, Cam. So now, like, how do you feel when you're riding now? Like, do you feel better than you did at your peak in your professional career? The same? Like, how does your body feel as you're riding now?
Yeah, so yesterday when I went for a ride, I was like, man, this is like, I haven't ridden a bike properly I've had a month off because I've just haven't had a bike here with me. And I went for a couple of rides last week and I could feel my spine and stuff quite tight. So there was a few things that I tweaked and changed. And then yesterday when I rode, it was like unreal. Like these days, I don't spend half as much time on the bike because of other commitments. But when I do get on the bike, I feel like that time I invest in the diet, the keeping moving and all these things, I feel like I could be a professional athlete again if I wanted to, but it's just a choice I make. My life's at a different stage, but my body, when I'm on the bike, my coordination between my eyes and what I want my arms or legs to do when I'm on the bike, it's my reaction times and my response to things, and alertness and concentration on the bike has definitely, I think, improved a lot since I was a professional. So basically, I wish I'd known all this stuff when I was, 20, and I was fighting for victories at World Cup races. So I think that definitely would have potentially prolonged my career and also given me that edge over the other athletes.
Cam, and you're so right. Like as a young person looking back, we don't always as a young person, you don't always prioritize these things or know how it's going to improve for you. But that's the beauty of hindsight for us, and why we want to get this education out there to empower young people to make different decisions. Because you have to look back, but if you're at the beginning of your career and the beginning of doing all this stuff, like you said, it's not actually that hard to tweak these things, but get amazing results.
Yeah, 100%. And I definitely recommend younger athletes. It's definitely a hard sell to young people, but I think easier as you spend more time with them and you build a rapport with them. But young athletes that I work with these days in mentorship roles and stuff, I'm definitely trying to impart that knowledge to them that I've gained from you, and also recommending to, if they can, come and see you. And it's an expensive sport. It's not often achievable for a young person who's, living out of a van racing their bike. But, if I can help them get off and cut something out of their diet that's going to help, and that's something I wish someone had told me when I was 20, I definitely would have listened. So, imparting that is key.
If you are young, or even if you're not young, and you're still racing or you're still riding for long periods of time, like a big question I get with a lot of my professional athletic players, sports players or sports people, is, well, what do you eat? And I talk about increasing the fats, and they look at me like, well, you don't ride for 5 to 7 hours or whatever it is, so what do you actually know? And as if it could work. So for you, Cam, you've actually applied that approach. What does that look like for you? If you're out riding or before you go riding, what happens with your diet?
If it's an early start, it's always a breakfast heavy and that sort of stuff, that will help sustain that. And then I supplement that when I'm on the bike with a smoothie or something like that, which is, if I'm away.
Pause for one sec, because nobody believes me when I say you can just supplement with a smoothie on the bike. They're like, no way. Like, where is my food? But like for a long ride, you obviously eat your fats and your breakfast before you go. But what sort of things are you putting into your smoothie on the ride?
Berries, coconut oil, nuts, collagen, seeds, chia seeds, and things like that. Heavy with those if I can, and I don't know, some kind of potentially coconut cream or milk or something like that, and a bit of water just to kind of thin it out a little bit and keep it so I can just drink it out of a bottle. So I just have it in a bottle, and I carry a couple of bottles with me, and then later on in the day, once I've finished the smoothie or whatever, I can just rinse the bottle out and just fill it with water. So then I've got 2 water bottles. So yeah, that's kind of it. I might carry some.
Like, how long are you talking about? How long will that sustain you for? Is this an hour ride? Is this a 3-hour ride? What sort of length is this?
Could be up to like a 4 or 5 hour race, but the races that I do when I'm using the smoothie, or actually even for downhill, I've got the smoothie there all day. So when I'm racing downhill, I come back to the pit space and can just sip on that, and then sip on some electrolyte and some other stuff like that as well, and then go back up for another run. And then on a typical race day, we'd do 3 runs in the morning, and then we'd do a timed run, and then we have like a race run. So that's like 3 o'clock. And at downhill, I might have some lunch or something like that, like a proper something to eat. But at an enduro event, we start early. We're on the bike for 5 hours, 4 or 5 hours, and there's just not the chance to stop for that, because the way we race those races is there's stages that we race, and then we have liaisons to get to the stage, so which are quite long. So just having the bottle there to sip on also, it takes that pressure, and you can probably speak more to this, takes that pressure off the digestive system. And when you're on the bike, you don't eat something and then feel, oh, my legs just got so heavy. You just don't ever feel that when you're drinking the smoothie, and you're drinking your water and keeping your fluids up. The body just feels good all day. So for 5 hours, I can generally operate on something like that, and then supplement in a few nuts and bits and pieces here and there like that. Yeah.
And also, so Cam, to anyone listening that's a young mountain bike rider, what is the key piece? If you would give them one tip that was affordable and doable for them, what would it be?
keep it simple. Yeah, keep it simple, but this might stretch into 2 pieces of information. Cut the major things out that are causing you the issues, and then after that, bring in these fats and keep it simple. Yeah.
Awesome, Cam. Cam, thank you so much for your time. That was so valuable and so useful for anybody. Like, just thank you. Those key things, like literally, if you just apply them, you're going to have amazing health. And it's a great message that's on board with what I say. So, Cam, everyone, I've answered all the questions, but we are so grateful for your time today. So thank you so much. And it's bright and early for you in the morning. So we will leave you to get on with your day, which it is the same day that I always get confused with. Wednesday morning for you, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, early Wednesday morning, just coming up 6:30. No, it's been awesome. Thanks, Shelley. It's always cool to share these experiences and chat with you. And I hope everyone enjoyed it.
Thank you, Cam. We feel very lucky.
Thanks, Shelley.
When I do this.